We were, hey y'all, let's hit the volleyball game. Let's hit the softball game. Let's hit the baseball game. We went out together. We had that gym.
See, I
That
like
gym that they
that.
had was massive. I wish I could show you a picture of what that gym looked like. It was the biggest, emptiest gym that you could ever. I mean, it looked like a concert hall. It was so big, but we were able to get that thing, get people in the stands and get people rolling and get people excited because
Today on the show, retired pro basketball player, University of Memphis alum, and the new lower middle school athletic director at St. George's Independent School, Will Coleman, is up next. Welcome back to the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Sandy Adams, and this is where we dive deep into the world of sports, talking with retired athletes, current athletes, and everyone that makes the sports world great. A quick reminder, if you're not already subscribed to the show, go right now, find us on Apple, Spotify, Audible, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And it would mean the world to me and all of our guests if you could take 2 minutes or even 1 minute and leave the show a review on Apple or Spotify. To learn more about our show, you can visit our website at 5thqrtpodcast.com. Now grab your iced tea or your coffee. Get ready to be motivated and inspired because this is where the real stories are told. Today's guest is someone who embodies resilience, heart, and purpose. From growing up in Alabama to playing basketball under the big lights at FedEx Forum for the University of Memphis, Will Coleman went on to have a successful career as a professional basketball player, taking his talent and passion around the world. Now he's stepping into his next chapter as the new lower and middle school athletic director at St. George's Independent School here in Memphis. But what makes Will truly remarkable isn't just what he's accomplished on the court, it's how he's used his voice and experiences to give back. Embracing Memphis as his home while co parenting his daughter, he's built a platform to uplift single dads, promote better co parenting, and openly share the struggles along the way. Will's story is about more than just basketball. It's about life, love, purpose, and building something meaningful every single day. I couldn't be more excited to welcome to the show Will Coleman.
how you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. We've been trying to get this episode recorded for a while. I keep running into you at FedEx Forum and I'm like, hey, you need to be on my podcast. And you're like, send me the link. Let's do it. And I finally did it the other day. So thank you so much for showing up today for this. Um,
Yes, man.
I always like to tell people how we met, and we've kind of met through Memphis basketball stuff, Memphis rebounder stuff, and you are one of the more visible former players in the city of Memphis. You are at most of the games, if not all of the games, and just showing up at events and supporting the team and showing your love for Memphis.
Mhm.
So I'm excited about that. So let's talk about. I really want to talk about your okay. So your new role, you're the middle school, lower school, and middle school athletic director for St. George's.
Yes, ma'am.
And prior to that, you were at St. Louis Catholic School.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um, Donna Humphreys wanted me to give you a shout out and say hello to
That's my,
you. She loves you. She,
Donna, that's my girl. That's my
I,
girl,
I
man.
told Donna she's probably going to get a shout out in like every episode now. But she wanted me, she was looking forward to this. She listens to all the episodes and she was looking forward to hearing yours.
Donna, Donna is, no, that's, that's my girl, man. That's my girl.
She is wonderful indeed, and a dear friend. So let's talk about that before we get started into everything else. What was the interview process like to take on this new role, going from St. Louis to St. George's? Like, what was the interview process like, and what were you looking for as a change in career path, so to speak?
Um, I think, man, that's a lot. It's just the way my brain works. Going from St. Louis to St. George's, there's a big difference as far as, what they pump into their program, what they what they pump into their program, just into the school. I mean, because
Right,
St. Louis is only PK through eighth,
right,
and St. George is PK through 12th.
right,
And so my direct boss, she leads the athletic department and she works primarily with ninth through 12th.
right.
And I do PK through eighth. But I think just the amount of energy that is put on in the team that's needed to help run a program like St. George's
Mm,
is monumental. It's huge. And I think, and I think I was excited about it just because as an athlete, depending on your level, there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, I'm an athlete and I play."
right.
You got some people who, and I think it's a blessing when anybody can play an athletic sport. But it's like you got a lot of people, some people, it's different levels, right? You got some
Mm-hmm.
people who didn't get past youth sports, pop warner
Right.
football,
Right.
whatever you may have it, or some people, high school, and some people made it to college. But then when you get to college, there's a whole different type of, you got your NAIA, Division 3, Division 2, Division 1
Right.
double A. I mean, there's so many different things, but I think as an athlete, when you get to a certain point, you kind of like the pressure. You kind of like, some people like, having their back against the wall. And not to say my back's against the wall right now, but it's just being in those high octane, situations. I think a lot of athletes thrive in those.
No, I agree about that. And um, one of my good friends from college, Ted Showalter, his son plays baseball at St. George's. And,
Hmm.
he's just talked about what a wonderful school it was. And I know
Yeah.
through the grapevine that St. George's is really putting a focus on middle school and uplifting and encouraging those students to continue their journey at St. George's. So I'm really excited to see what you do going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about it, get my feet wet and really just get things rolling.
Let's go back to. I'm going to start this episode a little different. So, um, I kind of know a little bit of what played into your decision to retire, but let's talk briefly about like when you made that decision and the feelings that you were having and why you made that decision because you made the decision to retire.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest thing was, I mean, I don't mind sharing my story with anybody, and I think that's the biggest thing, just being a grown man and accountability
Right.
and being vulnerable. And I think that's how you get other people connected. That's how you build relationships. But for me, just being an African American male, I didn't want to be, just to blankly put it, I didn't want to be another statistic or
Right.
another stereotype, just another African American man who doesn't take care of his child, who's never there, and things like
Right.
that. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was always there, physically
Sure.
or emotionally whenever I could be or whenever my daughter allowed me. Now, I want to clear the air. There's, me and Charlie's mom are thick as thieves. That's probably one of my best friends. You know, and obviously, it's a one-way street to a certain extent. She's
Sure.
married, has a husband. He's
Sure.
one of the greatest dudes I've ever met. And then stuff that he allows me to do to continue to be a dad is, I mean, I could talk about that until I'm blue in the face. And I think that's, a lot of what I try and promote on my platform. But just wanting to be around my kid and be there and not miss things is what really drove the decision for me to come home.
So let's give a shout out to your daughter, Charlie. How
At
how old is she right now?
14,
Ooh.
14, 14, that's 14.
14 years old.
Yeah.
And from the looks of her, she's gonna be really tall.
I hope so. In the volleyball world, it's changed. A lot of people get things, I need her tall, I need her tall. When it's like, no, if she's athletic, she could leap a little bit and we get her a
Sure.
little mean, she'll be fine. She's about
Yeah,
5'10", 5'11" right now.
that's pretty tall for
So
14 year old.
if she could
Yeah.
crack like 6'2", then we talking. Then we talking Showtime then.
Let's go back to the beginning. I don't think I really realized because when you played basketball, I was living in Houston. When you played for
Right.
Memphis, I was in Houston. So you grew up in Alabama. Tell us a little bit about your hometown and what that was like growing up there.
So I actually
Oh, did I get it wrong?
No, 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 no. You're
Oh,
fine. No, you're fine. A
okay.
lot of people, it's fine. So I went to school in Phoenix City, Alabama. So I spent a lot of time in Phoenix City,
Okay.
Alabama, but I actually lived in Columbus, Georgia. And so
Okay.
people, so I'll put it this way: West Memphis to Memphis is Phoenix
Oh,
City to Columbus, Georgia. Like literally, all you have to do is cross the bridge.
got it.
It's
Got it.
like just like, I mean, depending on where you live in Memphis, it's a 15-minute drive.
Got it.
It's like right across the bridge, and then boom, there's my school. Um, so, basketball wasn't always, I didn't start playing basketball till I was like a junior in high school.
Are you
Um,
serious?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. My very first basketball coach was a guy by the name of Kendall Mills.
Okay.
Super great guy. He's now the AD in my hometown in Columbus, Georgia, the county of Muskogee.
Right.
He's the AD. He was super, super huge, super monumental, and he poured into me a lot, during basketball. And so, I was, in 11th grade.
Well, wait, I want to go back because I'm curious. So, what did you play sports as a child?
Not really. Ran track, but I mean, I didn't do. I rode my bike, played video games. Back then when we played outside, imaginary friends. Back then,
That's what I did.
if
That's
you
what I
walk
did.
around, you find you a good stick. You find you a
Yeah.
good stick, and you run around. You can do all kinds of things with a good stick as a young boy. So I mean, I rode my bike. If I had a bike and a stick, I was solid, man. I was solid.
That's the country right there because that's
Yeah,
kind of how I grew up too.
I was solid, man. Find me a good stick, a bike with some of my homies. Back then, you could run around. You didn't have to worry about none of this crazy stuff that's going on. Now, I look up, you didn't know it at the time, but thinking about it, I'm on my bike with my friends. I look up, I'm 15, 20 miles away from the house. As
Sure.
long as I'm back before the street lights come on, my mom and dad really didn't care.
Right. So, did you have an interest in sports or it just wasn't
Nah,
something
my
that
dad kind of just made me, man, you don't want to try? Like, just go do it. Just
but you didn't have an
call.
interest?
I didn't. So I played for, Kendall Mills at a school called Hardaway High School. And then, and
So,
then
so what got you? So you're a junior in high school. What propelled you to just pick up a basketball and play?
a couple people, that coach, Kendall Mills, and there's
Hmm.
another guy. Man, it's so many people that was just huge in some of my childhood friends. Chris Walls, we call him Turtle. Another guy named Speedy, Jacquees Terry, buddy of mine, and then another coach, my high school coach, where my basketball really took off, was a guy by the name of Dusty Purdue, and that's where I went to school in Phoenix City, Alabama.
Right.
I went to a school called Glenwood High School. But I mean, just some of my closest friends, a couple of those guys I named BJ,
Right.
Will Tans. Those guys were, it's so many Aaron, Corian. I mean, it's so many people that I could just attribute my basketball to. Um, but those few names that I just named, I can name them all. It's probably like a total of 9 or 10 people.
Right.
But those people were just kind of in my corner the whole time. Like, Will, you could try it. You could do it. You can do this. And I
Did
just
you have
remember
did you have hesitations about playing basketball?
I did because some of my buddies, um, I remember them like I grew up with them. Two guys named they were Aaron, another guy named Cornian, and another guy named Chris, who passed away unfortunately. But they were my buddies, and they used to beat me down in basketball. Like we used to play 1-on-1, 2-on-2s. Like it was awful. I used to get beat every single time we played them, and they were just like, "Will, you like don't give up. Like keep playing." And then, I met my other buddies. Then I met these coaches and they were all just the same. Like, you can do this, man. They just poured into me and gave me a shot.
When did you start believing in yourself?
Senior year.
And was there a specific episode or like what made you start believing in yourself more?
Um, man, this coach, my high school team, my senior year, we won a championship. We went 30-1. And I was
Okay.
nominated for Mr. Basketball in Alabama. It was a good time, but I remember my coach used to, between my coach and my teammates, they used to pick me up every single day for school and take me, and my coach would have me in the gym and
Wow.
just, and it's like, that's thinking back on it, it's wildly inconvenient and annoying to have to pick up somebody every single day and make sure they get to school and do their work and all of that. So I'll never forget what he did for me. But him and another buddy of mine named Dustin, though they would switch. They would take turns picking me up for school. Another guy named Jamie. I mean, I always told myself when I became successful, And I still don't feel like I'm where I want to be, but like I told myself, every single person that I remember, every single person, when I got to a space to where I could be as fruitful as I want or as
Hmm.
generous as I want, every single one of those people will get a very big thank you gift from me, regardless of what it is. But between those two, my high school coach Dusty Perdue and my teammate Dustin and Jamie, these three people, they made sure I got to school every single day because my parents couldn't get me to Phoenix City, Alabama every day.
Right.
So those three guys made sure I was at school, I was at practice, I was in the gym. It
That's
was
a lot. That's a lot of love. And Doc Holliday was on here and he talked about, so it's really about community lifting you up and community taking
yeah,
care of you, which I think is missing a lot today in a
yeah.
lot of communities. You just don't see that kind of stuff anymore. Um, what were like, you're a senior in high school, you're starting to believe in yourself, but what are your goals for after high school? Had you had any thoughts whatsoever? Just taking it day by day?
Yeah, just playing basketball. I was just an athlete. Didn't really was just I mean, if you're an athlete, and I think a lot of people think
They do
like
say that. That's exactly
I'm an
what I've heard.
athlete. No, when you're an athlete, like a true athlete, you have a spot on anybody's team. I mean, there's literally on a football roster, you literally have players listed as that their position is athlete. And I mean, it just if you can run fast and jump high
Sure,
and you're
I get that.
strong, you will have a spot on anybody's team. And I think that's just what it was for the most part in basketball. I was just gifted to, I mean, I won state in the 100 and 200 in high school.
Yeah.
And I could just jump extremely high. I could catch. If you can catch, run, and jump, you got a spot on anybody's team.
How tall were
And
you? How tall were you in high school?
6'7", 6'8".
And you're 6'9" now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're making me feel really old. So with the
I
yes.
just growing up in the South. My dad was in the military,
I
so
know. So when high school graduation came, like, were you being recruited by colleges in high school?
I I got recruited by like one school. It was University of Arkansas at Little Rock.
So I'm going to tell you something. Candy, oh my God, I've lost my train of thought. Um, we'll go on. I've had other players on here that have said that they were not recruited very much.
I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't. I went to university, or I got recruited by the University of Arkansas at Little Rock,
Yeah.
and then I met. There was after I went to Miami-Dade. Or excuse me, after I left, I decided to, back then Arkansas Little Rock was painted as like, and it sucks because the way people in the media portray Memphis today.
Yes. Yes.
That's how Little Rock was back in 2007. I mean, just gang activity was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Every time you turned on the news, somebody was getting shot. So my mom's like, "Nah, we're not doing that." So somehow, I ended up I get out of my letter of intent. And I go to junior college, go to Miami-Dade.
So you got out of going to Little Rock. Okay, I know who it was. Brevin Knight. He
Yeah,
was on a recent, and he talked about how he wasn't recruited at all. He was going to go to some little college
yeah,
up in New York.
hmm yeah. I mean, it just happens. There's a lot of athletes out there who you just need a shot, man. You need an opportunity. And
Right.
so
Need
many
to be
people.
seen. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
need
mean,
to
I
be
know,
seen.
it's off the topic, but I mean, just
No, no,
in
we can
recent,
talk about
just
anything.
look at, look at the quarterback that just earned a spot over at Colorado, third string quarterback. Somehow finds the field, and
Hmm.
now they're talking about starting him. And I think just that there's a lot of athletes out there who just need an opportunity, just need a platform. And I think,
Tom Brady is a great example. He
yeah,
went like six quarterbacks before him went in the draft. He was like 199.
yeah. And so, again, that's why so many people in my life, I have a Rolodex. It's not
Yeah.
very long, but I got a Rolodex of people and I remember every single person who took a chance on me and poured into me. But ultimately, just throughout my high school tenure, put me in a space to where I could go to Miami-Dade and just flourish.
So you were there how long, Miami-Dade?
2 years.
2 years.
Mhm.
What was that? What was it like going from your high school playing to Miami Dade? And for those that don't know, it's in Florida, obviously, Miami Dade. I mean, it's a junior college, correct?
Yeah.
So, but still, it's a different atmosphere. You're in Miami, Florida, right?
The team we had in Miami could rival a lot of basketball teams now. We had the perfect pieces. And like anybody, I'm grown enough now. I really don't mind. And I've grown to learn that just being honest and just being upfront is the
Mm-hmm.
best policy. And I will tell everybody until I'm blue in the face. If we had a real coach,
Oh,
yeah, if we had a real coach, we would have won a lot of basketball. I mean, the roster we had was crazy. It was me, Trevor Mabakwe went to Minnesota, Darnell Dotson went to Kentucky. We had James Beatty at the point guard who went to Rutgers. We had another guy named Sherrod Minus, sharpshooter. Man, we had a squad, man. But we didn't have a coach. We didn't have a coach. Because if we had a legit coach, we would have, man, that whole starting five could have went to any school in the country.
so that's really interesting because it's not just. So what you're saying is it's not just the player's talent. You
Mm-mm.
got to have the coach as well. It's got to
Yeah,
be a combination of both. And
yeah,
if you can have the greatest coach and not have a great team.
exactly, exactly. But we had a team. I mean, we had that campus had never been anything like that because the community that we built just through basketball. We were, hey y'all, let's hit the volleyball game. Let's hit the softball game. Let's hit the baseball game. We went out together. I mean, we had that gym.
See, I
That gym
like
that they
that.
had was massive. I wish I could show you a picture of what that gym looked like. It was the biggest, emptiest gym that you could ever play. I mean, it looked like a concert hall. It was so big, but we were able to get that thing, get people in the stands and get people rolling and get people excited because of the camaraderie we had, even with the assistant coaches, Matt Dunn and Wes Pfeiffer,
Right.
we were that was some of the greatest. I had the most fun probably some of the most fun in my life ever playing at that school with those people.
Brevin Knight said the same thing when he started at Stanford.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
telling you.
but they were like, we have a basketball team.
Yeah, man. It's truly like it's I can't I it's unexplainable.
Fan involvement. Can you say that it really inspires you on the court when you've got a huge audience?
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Easily.
Okay.
Especially oof, yeah. It's like you have another offensive player or defensive player, depending on who's in the stands, how much noise is going on. It's huge.
Okay, so let me ask you this because I always like to ask these insightful questions. So the Will Coleman that started at Miami Dade and the Will Coleman that left Miami Dade, what do you think you learned the most about those 2 years about yourself?
Not working hard enough.
Not working hard enough.
The caliber of basketball that I wanted to play or thought I wanted to play, I wasn't ready. I thought I was, but I wasn't ready. And I found that out because we played some exhibition games when I got to Memphis. We played some games, but my very first game, we played Kansas.
Oh my God.
Jimmy V Classic in New York. We lost by two, but that was fresh off the roster that we kind of had to piece together. That was right when Cal left.
Yeah.
That was when
I
everybody thought
wasn't
we
here
was,
then either, though.
yeah, that was when everybody thought we was gonna be in shambles. But the very first real test that I had to play against Cole Aldridge. He was a big man in Kansas. He ultimately got drafted to the Thunder. I don't know what he's doing now, but when I played against him, I was like, yeah, no, I got some work to do.
Okay, so how did you get from Miami to Memphis?
Got recruited. Cal came and recruited me.
How did he find you? I'm curious how he
Just
found you.
playing, you know. I, and I'll, I'll, I, Matt Dunn was a guy that spent a lot of time on me. My freshman year at Miami-Dade, I had an okay year. It was fun, but Matt Dunn came to me and was like, "Hey man, you want to take this to the next level or what? What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to play basketball." So I spent my time in Miami. I didn't go home for the summer. I stayed in Miami for the summer, which was amazing, but it was also
Sure,
tough.
sure it was.
And it was almost like an experiment, man. I felt, I mean, it was almost like Frankenstein because Matt Dunn, he was currently in school getting his degree in, man, I don't know if it was exercise science or I can't remember what it was, but like he feeding me, hey, you got to eat this. You need to take this. We need this creatine right here, this protein. The ingredients on this is this. And I probably over the summer, it's probably what, 2.5 months, I probably gained. I went from probably, I mean, because I'm young, I can eat whatever
Right.
I want, calorie, all that stuff takes
Yeah.
part in it. But like Matt Dunn probably got me up to about 275,
Dang. Well,
275,
but if
280
you
at my
look at your
heaviest.
height, we think, "Ooh, that's a lot," but based
I
on your
mean,
height,
I mean, yes, but 280 at 6'9" is I was
yeah.
I got to a point to where I had to let Matt Dunn know, like, hey man, we kind of need to chill. Like my knee, I can't like playing at this weight is not comfortable. So,
And
he
what do you mean by that? Did you feel too heavy?
yeah, just the he was able to keep me at a weight and still be as explosive as I was. And
Sure.
so jumping and landing and carrying around 280, it was tough. And so my knees was kind of like, hey man, like
Oh, yeah, I get that.
we need you to relax a little bit. We working overtime all the time. We need you to you need to shave a couple pounds. And so, Matt Dunn tinkered with some things and got me ready for the season, but that's when things that my sophomore year is when things kind of because I
Right.
spent that whole summer in the gym with Matt Dunn, and that's where things kind of started to just take off.
So what sold you on Memphis? I mean, I've heard Cal is a great salesman, but
Yeah,
what's
at the time, it didn't take much because Memphis was fresh off the tournament run.
Mhm.
Um, you got Derrick Rose, Tyreek Evans, you got all these guys leaving. And it's like, man, Kyle got something rolling here. And then the class he had coming in, I was like, oh
Right.
man, we about to me, John Wall, Eric Bledsoe, Darnell Dotson, Daniel Orton, DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, so I was like, I'm going. I'm going.
But that wasn't the team you played with.
That wasn't the team I played with. They all ended up leaving to go to Kentucky.
Mhm.
And so, Cal asked me, he was like, hey man, I'm going to Kentucky. Let's do this. And so after talking to people, I still talk to Matt Dunn a lot. If there's a lot of stuff going on in my life where I need some guidance on something, I still talk to Matt Dunn.
Sure.
I talk to, him about everything. And so after talking to him, he was like, man, you sure you want to do this? I was like, yeah. He was like, you gotta think about it now. You got 2 years. Back then, you could only play 4 years.
Right,
Now you can
right,
go all 4 years, or you can do junior college 2 years and get all your 4 years at your university. Now it's totally different back then. I only had 4 years. I did
right,
two at junior college. So Matt was like, you got to think about it, man. You got Patrick Patterson is already at Kentucky. Just won SEC Player of the Year that year, I believe.
right.
And you got DeMarcus Cousins, McDonald's All-American. He's a one and done.
Mhm.
And you got Daniel Orton, another McDonald's All-American who's supposed to be one and done. And then got me. So it's four people playing for the five spot. I got
Yeah.
2 years. Patrick got 2 years.
Right.
Daniel Orton and DeMarcus Cousins, they got 4 years. So it's like, man, you're gonna be fighting for playing time with three other guys, and you only got 2 years. Like, if you stay at Memphis, you're the guy who's at the five spot,
Sure.
and you can play.
I
So,
like Matt.
like,
I like
I mean, I don't think there's much to think about, Will. I was like, man, you're right. And so I just decided to stay at Memphis.
What was the first game when you played at FedEx Forum? How did that feel? You walk out on that court. I mean, had you ever played in an arena like that?
Nope. Mm-mm. Never. And it was something. It's something like I'll never forget it. Just the crowd, the yelling, the cheering, and that was back when we were still on a high. So we still, I mean,
Yeah.
I remember Memphis Madness. midnight man. I can't remember if we did it at midnight that year or if it was at a regular time, but like the fire marshal got called. We had to turn people away at the door because people were still so excited about Pastner and everything that he was doing.
Yeah,
But it was a like no other, no state. If we were able to pack that stadium out to its capacity every game, I'll bet every dollar I got there's not another stadium like it.
sure. What so you're at Memphis for 2 years. Were you like what were you thinking about after college? What was your thought process?
It got to a point to where it was like, okay, yeah, I can play some professional basketball. But still, even my senior year, I was like, I can play professional basketball, but not at the capacity that I want because I was still playing people and I knew it's like, man, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And I remember it like it was yesterday.
Did
I
you
mean, I
did
played.
did you think not did you think you weren't ready because you weren't putting enough focus on working out and doing all those
Oh, for
things?
sure, for
Okay,
sure,
okay.
for sure. And then, again, I'll be as candid as I can with anybody, but I was too worried about I was worried about the wrong thing. Going out,
You're not the only one.
women,
You're not
I,
the only one.
and there's so many people putting in work that are doing the things to get to this next level, but it was real easy to fake it
Yeah,
because I'm so athletic and I was so gifted
right.
athletically. I could keep up with everybody, and I didn't have to just put in the work to go on top of the athleticism. But I remember playing the three people that I played against in college, and I was like, yeah, I am not ready for the NBA. I played the Morris twins, Marcus and Markeith, who were at Kansas,
Mhm.
and Tobias Harris, who was at Tennessee.
Right.
I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm
You
not
know, some well, I would say maybe a lot of athletes wouldn't admit to that. They
ready.
wouldn't admit it to themselves first of all,
Mhm.
and they certainly wouldn't admit it out public. Um, so how did you prepare? Like when your senior year, how did you like what was your plans for what's next?
Well, everything kind of, got flipped on its head. And, I decided to turn on the Jets a little too late. Well, not too late, but obviously, things are a little different when you find out you're about to have an offspring.
Mm. So
So,
that was your senior year?
so senior year, I'm in the gym twice a day. I'm in the gym, rehabbing. I'm in the gym putting up shots.
Right.
At that point in time, it's too late. And I think that's one thing a lot of people and a lot of athletes think that we are, "Yeah, I got time, I got time." No,
No.
no, no, you don't. You don't. You don't. You don't. You don't. And it's like that's when I kind of turned it on and really started to put in some work. And so things started to come in, trickle in slowly. I met a guy who was my agent. And he, again, another guy that poured into me. He gets me into this. I go to this thing called Portsmouth.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yes.
Yeah, I go to Portsmouth. He gets me in there, and then I play, and a lot of overseas guys are there, a lot of scouts are there and stuff. And then that's when I kind of met some people, and I started my professional career over in Europe. Because I
You
didn't,
went to
yeah, I went to Europe before even, I didn't get, draft invites. I didn't go
right.
to workouts. I didn't get all of that. I went to two things, and my year was the year of the lockout. So then I
Oh,
went to some mini camp stuff, but they didn't. The whole draft process wasn't a thing
right.
because it was like people trying to still agree on contracts and numbers and deals and stuff. So I didn't get all of that. So with Charlie on the way, I had to go.
You suddenly grow up and you've got this responsibility on yourself. It's not just you anymore. And
Sometimes it's rough because sometimes still to this day I still don't feel adequate or good enough. And people tell me, and a lot of my friends that I'm in church with and a lot of people I look up to, they say all the time, well, you know you are, because if you're her dad, nobody else can be her dad.
it's
He
true.
he chose you to be her dad. So he
It's true.
obviously saw what needed for this young lady. And be that as it may, some days I still feel like I missed the mark.
Um, well, I forgot what I was going to say to that. And that's kind of, the thing is, and I don't have children, but the thing is, that I'm not sure any parent feels adequate enough. I don't think they are. And I think that no one's perfect. You know, I think kids really just they want the love and they want to know that you're there for them and that if there's something wrong that they can come to you and talk to you. And I think, that's what's most important. They're not looking for a perfect parent. I've seen friends of mine who told me as an adult they had like the perfect childhood. And then they realized that, their mom was in the bathroom crying half the time and just didn't want anybody to hear it.
I think, I was getting a little.
this,
I
this
think,
is, mhm.
I just think it's harder now because, so many people have social media and,
Yes, it is.
so many people get caught up in comparison. And that's one thing I try to let people know that like anybody can put anything on the internet
Yes, they
and,
can.
and they can put the shiny things. No one posts, I don't often say losses, but no one ever posts their lessons or never, no, everyone always posts their highlights. And, there's been a point in time in my life, I'm not ashamed of any of it, but there's been a point in time in my life where, just as a dad trying to figure my life out after basketball, like, man, I can't afford to get nothing to eat this week. Or,
Yeah,
what am I going to do? Am I going to make sure I can get my kids something to eat and I don't eat? Or what do I do? And I just think so many people, they don't realize that everybody has struggles. I don't care if you got a lot of money or no money, but I think so many
sure
people
they
get
do.
in comparing that they forget what they're supposed to be doing.
That was one of the reasons because Michael Wilson and I started this podcast, and his was really about talking about those things, obviously specifically about athletes and how hard it is to transition after you lose this thing that you have spent so much time putting your life into, and how, life is not perfect. There's all these hardships and it's never a straight line. And what people see now, like what they see when they see you, what they see when they see me, that's just a surface look, right?
Right.
It doesn't show all the struggles and the sacrifices and the journey that you've had. And that's one thing that I have really loved about this podcast, and people have wanted to come on here and share their stories, their struggles about what they've gone through. And I think that talking about that actually helps other people, whether they're an athlete or not. Everybody's dealing with all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Um, how hard was it when you left for France? That I think that was the first country you
Yeah.
played for.
Mm.
What was your thought process, and how did you feel about yourself when you were on your way over there?
I mean, I was still so wrapped up in the identity of being a basketball player. And I think that's the hardest part to your point. Like so many people, I mean, I've had to seek therapy about it. There's so many things that, so many people in this city still see me as like I only have one name. I'm fine with it. Like I'm okay with it. I like my
What's the
name
name?
is Will Coleman. Like they take my first name and last name and just it's one name. It's one name. One name. I don't no one ever I rarely hear Will.
I'm gonna make a point the next time I
And
see you in person to
and
just
no
say Will.
and there's only one person ever in my life, one person to ever call me William.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you prefer to be called?
I don't mind it now. It's Will Coleman. Like I'm cool with it. Like I'm fine. Because at the end of the day, I've almost wanted to kind of make a brand out of it,
Well,
just to
yeah.
capitalize on. I mean, it's Will Coleman. Y'all don't know Will Coleman? Oh, y'all don't know me play for the Tigers. It's like, yeah, I play for the Tigers, but I love to cook. I love to bake. I love photography. I love videography. Will Coleman, I don't know. Will Coleman want a wife. He want matching PJ pajamas at Christmas. Like, there's so many things that Will Coleman does want. and I'm cool with it, but I'm just like, if I'm Will Coleman, a basketball player, make sure hey, Will Coleman can cook you a bomb meal, or if you need some
Right.
photography done, Will Coleman can take care of. Or if you just want them to hang out, Will Coleman's a cool dude, but I've just still, trying to find out who I was as a person, even when I went to France, that was still an everyday battle because yeah, I'm out here to play basketball, but there are other things that I like to do.
It is hard. I remember you talking about, and I don't know if I heard this on a podcast you did or something. You were talking about you were at Home Depot and someone comes up. Oh no, you were talking about it on your Instagram. Some guy comes up to you and he's like, "Why aren't you still playing basketball?"
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's I think so many people, I think that's out of everything that has happened in my life, that's probably one of the things that makes me the angriest.
yeah,
It's just like when people, it's funny and it makes me angry because some people come up to you, hey man, you look familiar. Hey, Nell, and they're going off. You can read people, they're going off assumptions. You used to
sure.
play for the Tigers, right? Like, yeah, yeah. Oh, I remember you. I remember when you came here. What's your name again? Then no, you don't remember me. If you,
Exactly,
if
exactly.
I remember you, but you can't remember my name, then you don't remember me. But and the other part of that, somebody like you said, why aren't you playing back, or why didn't you go to the NBA? And it's like, I'm like, it's not that easy. Like, what are you
No,
talking about? Like 0.2% of the population in collegiate basketball goes to the NBA. Like, and then
those are
I
the
tell them
yeah,
that they
yeah.
don't even want to talk anymore.
No,
They just shut the conversation off. And I'm like, well, okay,
it's
have a nice day.
it's probably all of those couch coaches who think that they can coach
100%. 100%.
basketball better than anyone else. Um, what did being overseas? I think you went to like
I
eight
was
or
there.
nine, eight or
I was
nine
there.
different countries,
I was everywhere. I tell you what, I tell everybody, I love Charlie to death. That's my baby.
right?
But if I didn't have her, I wouldn't have came back to America.
What did you love the most about being overseas?
Just the people, safe,
Yeah,
the people. And I know this, you ain't gotta get into, but the way the news, I don't care which way you swing. The way the news portrays or broadcasts Europe over here, it's not the
yeah,
same.
yeah,
Not even the same. And just the people, the community, everybody's outside, everybody's walking. The food is healthy, it's fresh.
yeah.
I mean, depending on what country you in, there's a McDonald's like
There it is.
every 20 miles. Like they just don't eat that stuff. Excuse me. So if you want McDonald's, you kind of got to go out your way to go
Right.
find it. It's almost like it's annoying. It makes you not even want to go get it because it's so far away from where you are.
What was the favorite your favorite country that you were in?
It depends. It depends
Okay.
on
Okay.
what mindset I'm in.
Okay, like today, what would you say?
If right now, if
Yes.
Will Coleman right now could play in
No,
any of the countries
no,
he
no,
played
no.
in,
I'm not saying play. Like, what was your favorite country?
oh, right now, I'm just saying the type.
Oh,
Okay, type of. If I could pick a favorite based off of how I live my life and how I am today, it would probably be Greece.
ah.
Greece, they super chill. They super chill over there. The siestas that they have. They work from 8 to like 11.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody go home from like 12 to 4, take
Exactly.
a nap, hang with the family, whatever, get lunch, and then everybody go back to work. Everything's open super late over there. But they
Mm-hmm.
get that big old break in the middle of the day. But they're super chill. Everybody, let's go grab a coffee. That's their go, that's their thing. I don't even drink coffee, but I found myself with my teammates sipping on a Coke, and they will sit out there with the same cup of coffee for 2, 3 hours and just relax. The weather's nice. I
Yeah.
mean, Greece for sure.
What was the so how did that change you when you came home? That whole experience.
It just kind of let me know, a lot of the stuff that myself I take for granted, and then a lot of stuff that us as Americans just take for granted.
Yeah, I
And it could
agree.
be something super silly, or it could be something really big. Like you go to a grocery store over in Europe, you bagging your own groceries.
Mm-hmm.
Like don't nobody bag your groceries for you. You do that on your own.
Yeah.
Or whereas over there, family is a thing. Like I don't care what's going on. I don't care what's happening. They always figure things out and they always meet for dinner.
Sure.
They're always together for dinner. Family functions at the dinner table, they're close. They stick together. And that's, over here in
Uh,
America, you probably hear horror stories of what's going on in people's families, but it's not like that here. So
I did my student teaching in Europe, so I was in Germany for 2 weeks, and I was
that's
in
a great
England for
place.
4 weeks. And um, where I was in Germany, it had previously been communist Germany. It was just south of Berlin. Um, but for me, when I came home, it made me appreciate like all of the choices that we have, even
Hmm.
though they're overwhelming. Um, but it also made me look at, travel over there is a lot easier because they have the
Oh yeah.
train system and all this stuff. And and just the technology and just the history of everything. Because over there, everything's like thousands of years old.
Right.
Like in London, you can see bullet holes from like World War II.
Right, right, right.
That stuff's crazy. Um, so let's talk about when did you decide, or was there what prompted you, other than just your daughter, but was there a specific instance where you were like, man, I'm ready to come home. I'm ready to stop.
It was just her. It was her. It was all her. I just got tired of, watching her grow through a screen,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to miss none of the important stuff. I wanted
I
to be home.
I saw a video, I think it was on your Instagram thing of, and I think you reshared it like a year ago, but it was you in the airport. And I guess Charlie's mom had taken it. It was you coming into the airport from overseas and her running into your arms. And,
Yeah,
and that got me like right there. That
yeah,
just got me.
yeah. It's a great feeling, man, because she had gotten to the age to where, depending on where you are, what club you play for, you're going to be going anywhere from 8 to 10 months.
Yeah.
The team make a deep playoff run or whatever case may be. But, it got to a point to where, 8, 9 months didn't seem like 2 weeks anymore. She started to understand the concept of time. And so being away for that long was
Yeah.
rough. It was rough.
So you're back in Memphis then, and you're co-parenting, right?
Mhm.
Um, what were your thoughts about jobs? Like, what was that journey like right then, coming back? Those first few months of you're no longer playing basketball, and you got to figure out what you're going to do.
I was on my butt for a while. I just sat around. But I mean, I had to make something happen. So I went into Gibson's Donuts, started off as a joke. I went there, grabbed some donuts, and I had so much fun in there. Just that time, just that brief moment being in there picking out my donuts. On the way out, I was like, Don, I might come back here and sell some donuts. You hiring? I just made a joke. He's like, come on, I'm serious. Come on in. We'd love to have you in here. And so when I left, I'm sitting in my car, I'm eating my donut, and I'm like, man, you know what? I ain't got no job. I don't, you know, what am I about to do? So I
Yeah,
called Don. And, he kind of set it up. It was a little different. I was the other only grown man in there. Don and his son, Britton, they've helped quite a few people. And so the pay was a little different, for me, obviously, because I'm a grown man, got a kid, but they still allowed me to, well, we need you to, well, you can't stay here too long. We need you to get out. One, I can't continue pay you like this, but two, you were grown, like you don't own this space,
yeah.
you need to become a man. You know what I'm saying? You
He
need to
he
grow
wanted
up.
you to do
Mm.
better.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you're a college graduate, you got a degree, you play lots of basketball. Like, come on, man, you're not supposed to be in selling donuts for the rest of your life. Like, you gotta get moving. And so they allowed me to work, they paid me, they allowed me to go to job interviews, they allowed me to go to Britton and his dad, they were huge for me at that time. And so, I took advantage of it, but it was a grind, just everything that I did. I mean, I sold donuts, I sold retail, worked at Lululemon, I sold cars, I was fundraising at Alsac St. Jude. And I think a lot of people, a lot of athletes just assume just because you play great
mm,
basketball, you just come home and walk into a job. It's like,
yeah,
nah, man, you got ground for this. You may be able to catch or dunk a basketball, but like I don't know how you're gonna work. Even though statistically, it's proven that hiring an athlete for any corporate position is better than
Sure.
just because of our mindset and the way we work. But these business owners don't care about that. They want to know, like, hey man, you need to put in
Yeah,
the work. I'm not just finna
that's
hire
right.
you. You walk in here making six figures. What you think this is? And I think that's what a lot of athletes think, just because they put in a lot of roots or have a lot of roots in a city that they played a sport in, they just assume or they just deserve the right to be in a
I
job
get that.
making X amount of dollars, and it don't work like that.
I get that. It's, that journey is really hard. Being famous in a city, it may get you free meals, but business owners are like, hey, that's great. Let me get your autograph. No, I need somebody that knows what they're doing,
Right, right, right.
has experience. When did when did you start talking about co-parenting and single dads and starting to speak about that? Because you've built a platform. I know at least I've been here 5 years, and I think the last 3 or 4, I've really listened to you talk about that.
Um, just realizing my struggles and how hard it was for me to be open about it. And I think it's still a component to, there's a component to being as vulnerable as you need to, because I think it takes a lot of heart, it takes a lot of bravery to be completely vulnerable on the internet because people are mean, man.
Yeah, they
You know,
are.
I've
They
gotten
are.
some mean things, and I've gotten some, and there's a lot of things that I've done and said and regret just being a single dad at 36. But there's a lot of stuff that I could talk about and really open up about on my platform, and I choose not to because at the same time I still, my
Right.
bosses and everybody still, follow me at work. You got kids following me and all kind of stuff. So I try to keep everything G-rated and consumable for every age. But I think just, man, being a dad can be hard.
Mm,
Being a dad can be hard, man. And being a single dad can be hard, regardless of what you got going on. And just being able to share that with people and show people that you can co-parent peacefully.
right.
But it take two to tango. And I think so many people get caught up in in just materialistic items when it's
Yeah,
like,
they
man,
do.
one day your kid gonna get older. If you fighting with your co-parent, you're not gonna know it now, but one day your kid gonna get
Yeah.
older and he or she is going to dislike one of you. They're
Hmm.
gonna get older, they're gonna get mature, they're gonna start seeing things. And if y'all keep fighting, that kid is either going to dislike their dad or dislike their mother. And I didn't want either.
Well, and not only that, it's kids learn by what they see. And if they see their parents not have the ability to co parent together, to have conversations together, their ability to have healthy relationships with another person is going to
Mhm.
be hard because they
Yeah.
haven't seen it modeled for them,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
now, and my daughter's getting to the age now to where she's starting to ask questions. And so, for example, so I just, you know, even like something that's like a breakup, dad was dating somebody, recent breakup or whatever. And it's like, my daughter's like, Dad, what happened?
Mm.
And it's like, I know the truth and I know what I did. But at the same time, my daughter's still not at the age to where she can digest that type
Sure.
of conversation. But
Exactly.
I just have to, you got somebody who's watching. It's like, Daddy wasn't the best. He wasn't the nicest. And a lot of things can go into that conversation. But as my daughter gets older, like you said, they begin to see.
They
And
do.
if I can't show my daughter how to treat somebody,
Right.
then it's like, yeah, I say, obviously, I talk about it all the time on my platform. Her bonus dad is amazing, treats her
Yeah.
mama like royalty. You know what I mean? But there's always going to be that connection with your dad, right?
Sure.
Biological dad. And so, she'll come to me, ask questions, and we'll talk about things. But she's getting to the age now to where one day she gonna ask me, "Hey, Dad, okay, look, I'm X age now. Like, tell me why you and mom really not together." And so, and so that conversation it'll be a fun one. but it'll be a tough one. And she's getting to that age to where she's starting to ask questions, feelings, and she's maturing and so many things. And I got somebody I got to answer to now, you know?
I think also that it's important for kids to see that, as they grow up, that their parents are human,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the one thing that I know I'm good, this is gonna be emotional. I'm gonna get emotional. The one thing that I learned from my mom, my mother is no longer living, and I had a stepfather for several years. He's no longer living, and my dad died when I was 17. But the one thing that I learned was that it's how you handle situations.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
how you handle those. I know my parents were not perfect, but how they handled the issues that came up. And I think for young girls, it's important to see, yes, your dad's not perfect, right?
Right.
But it teaches you, I think, how to handle those situations because you realize what you did wrong or you
Right.
realize why that relationship didn't work. And
Hmm.
like you said before, it takes two to tango, right? So
Yeah.
there's two people in a relationship,
Right.
and I think that being able to give her some insight also helps her when she gets to those moments of having relationships, one, maybe what to look for, maybe how to handle, because she's seen how you've handled things, like all of those. You're always a teacher, not only teaching yourself but teaching your daughter as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I see that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, oof. I mean, just again, just being a dad, there's a lot of humility in it and there's a lot of accountability in it.
Sure.
And, just depending, everybody, I know everybody's situation is not perfect. Everybody doesn't have a situation like I do where
Right.
I can just roll up on, Charlie's mom or pull up to their house. And I spend a lot of time over there with them. And with that, in the relationship that I have with them and the relationship that they allow me, and not necessarily, I ain't gonna say allow because that sounds kind of crazy, but
Encourage.
Charlie's
Encourage.
mom is 100% in favor of me trying to be an excellent dad. She'll
Mhm.
call me or text me, hey man, it's kind of been a minute. How about you take Charlie get some dinner or something? If I just get caught up with work or if I'm running
Sure.
around, a week, 2 weeks go by, Charlie, hey man, come on, let's what you got going on? Charlie's kind of walking around here a certain kind of way. I mean, I think she needs some time with her dad. And, me and Charlie talk, we text, we FaceTime, but just that physical connection and being
Yeah.
with her and hanging out is always gonna trump everything else. But if you are active in your child's life to any capacity, like I know at the end of the day I'm gonna have to answer to God, but like at some point you're gonna have to answer to your child because they're gonna ask questions and they're gonna want to know why. And they
Right.
go, why, why, why? And they go until a kid will know when they get the truth from you, until they get when they get to the root of what they're looking for, a kid will know, or your child will know. But when you got somebody looking at you or in your shadow, or just, people know who your parents are. Raffy was a big wig at Memphis too, could dance, won some championships with Carol and her dance team, the Palm Squad. They was big time. But like when people just know who you are, that kind of follows you around. So like your kid gonna ask questions, and so I encourage everybody to, if you are active and you're in your child's life, just have that open conversation with them, man, about anything,
Right.
age appropriate, of course, whatever it is. But like, and your kid's gonna ask questions, and you're gonna have to answer to them.
And they don't let you, yeah, you're right. They don't let you get by with
Don't let
just
forget. They don't let you forget either. They gonna bring it
they
up.
don't.
Kids don't have no. They don't forget. They don't forget. My daughter reminds me all the time. Will, if you don't tighten up, you're gonna be single for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
She let me know all the time, and
So
I'm okay. The criticism, I've gotten it all my life just through basketball. I don't. You ain't got to sugarcoat nothing with me. And my daughter, she give it to me real all the time.
so speaking of Charlie, she plays volleyball now.
Yes, ma'am.
She's in high school, correct?
She's in high school, ninth
Okay.
grade.
Okay. So how has this been for for you to watch your daughter take up a sport that you don't play,
Right.
okay, you haven't played, and to see her flourish as an athlete, and you have to like step back and take the parents'
Hmm.
point of view. Like, how has that journey been for you? What has it taught you? How hard has it been?
It hadn't been hard at all because I don't know nothing about volleyball, right? So I've kind of, and I've sprinkled some content through Instagram just as a dad, like
Mm, yeah, yeah.
parents, you gotta leave your kids alone when it come to coaching or when it comes to a sport, especially if you've never played it. You can, yeah, let's go play hard, all those things, but trying to tell
Yeah.
your kid what to do on the court when you don't know nothing about it or on the field or whatever is it's pointless. And so, like I have more fun watching volleyball, especially watching my kid. I have more
Right.
fun watching her play than I did playing any basketball game ever I've played in. I mean, it's so fun to watch. So athletic, the girls moving and how fast it is. And I have so much fun watching it. So much fun.
What would you say to other parents out there? You're right. Parents are like crazy when it
Yeah.
comes to their child playing
Yeah.
sports. Like,
Oh, yeah.
um, what would you say that you've learned from that process of being? What has it taught you
Um,
about yourself?
Parent, just the number one thing, even for me, and I see it all the time, but parents, please don't, don't try and coach your kid from the sideline
That's right.
and don't talk to your kid doing so. If you want to cheer them on, that's fine, but it's just a pecking order, right? If you got a
Mhm.
kid on the court and you got your parent yelling one thing and you got your coach yelling another thing, just by instinct, your kid is going to look at the parent and listen to what they have to say before they listen to
Yeah,
anybody else.
that's true. That is very true.
And even if you don't even know what you talk about, you're gonna distract them. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Let the coach do the coaching. Yeah, let's go. Nice job. Way to hit the ball. Nice block. Whatever you want to say, but don't physically call your kid to try and get their attention while they playing.
I
Because you don't
agree.
know what the coach calling, you don't know what offense they running, you don't know what play they running, you don't know what scheme they in. Just leave them alone. You don't know what they talked about in the huddle. So that's one thing I've learned is that Charlie is a little more responsive to me when I ask her things like, when this went down, how did this make you feel?
Mm,
What did you want to do? Why did you respond this way? What were
right.
you feeling when that girl blocked you? What were you feeling when you couldn't hit that ball over the net or you got whatever it may be? I ask her more questions to see what her feelings were and see what her
Yeah.
emotions were versus trying to tell her, hey, you hit that ball late or you missed that block because I don't know how to block a volleyball and I don't know how to hit a volleyball. So I don't say nothing about it anymore. And she responds to that way better than me
Sure.
trying to tell
Yeah.
her you need to get up or slide faster or whatever. So I just leave your kids alone. Let the coach
I
coach them.
agree. I
If
agree.
you
I
want to
agree.
coach, you put a team together and coach them. But if not, just sit down, be quiet, and enjoy the game.
I agree. Let's talk last subject. Let's talk about your photography. When did you get into photography? Because
During COVID,
you take great pictures. I've
I
really
appreciate
tried
it.
to encourage you, and yeah,
I appreciate it. But during COVID, that was photography and videography was something that I picked up to kind of help battle depression and anxiety.
yeah,
And so I just decided to keep at it and run with it. Now I spend majority of my time taking pictures of whatever my daughter wants.
yeah.
She has no problem volunteering me for, hey, my teammate want this, my teammate want this, my teammate want this. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. Okay. It's my kid, so it is what it is. But I started it just to kind of battle. During COVID, that's when I kind of had, we
Yeah,
talked about it, that identity crisis, trying to
yeah.
figure out what I want to do, who I am as a person, and not a basketball player anymore. And so photography just kind of was an outlet for me to not go crazy.
Well, I look forward to seeing more of your photography.
I appreciate it.
I think when I first moved back, started following you, and I sent you a few messages just saying, how I learned was I just went out and did it. I just
Yeah.
went out and just shot and just figured out what I like, what I didn't like, used what I had, all those kind of things. So I look forward to seeing all of that. Do you have a favorite photo that you've taken?
I got a few.
Yeah,
Got a few. I got a few. And I mean, a lot of them come from, obviously as my kid,
sure.
but I got quite a few photos that I look at and I'm like, man, I just truly love because like I've looked at photos of my kid, I've looked at photos of other people's kids, doing something that they love. That sounds
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy. I just want to
No.
preface. That sounds kind of crazy. Me talking about looking at somebody else's photo. Photos that I've taken in an athletic space of
Right.
other people's kids showing emotion, playing hard,
Yes.
crying. I'll probably say, let me see if I can find it right quick. While I want to, let me see. Um, so I think my favorite photo, there's a young lady. I have obviously of my daughter, Charlie. But there's a favorite photo. It's a young lady. She plays at Arlington High School. Her name's Kendall McKee. And she, this was right after she had a and I think this shows the resilience of kids. She had
Mm,
a bad string of serves and couldn't hit the ball back or whatever the case may be. But I mean, you really can't see it, but I'll show you here. But this was fresh after she had a bad
yeah.
run and she's crying and she's upset and she looks like she's about to fall apart. But instead, man, the resilience that she showed after that happened, I'm just like, man, there's a lot of adults who would crack under this kind of pressure.
Oh, exactly. And have.
But she could have easily been like, I'm not playing anymore. I quit. I'm done. And I see that a lot in my daughter as well, but I just don't have any pictures of
Right.
her in that state because I'm watching and I'm shooting when my daughter's playing. I'm like trying to watch and I'm trying to shoot all the time. But I got this particular picture because I was simply just able to just sit and shoot.
Right.
So I got that photo and I was like, man, this is it's powerful, right? Because like you said, you got some adults who can't even handle that kind of pressure and they crack or fold but to
Mm.
see a kid just, she just wiped her face, wiped her tears and just, man, she just got right back to it. And so I think that's probably one of my most favorite photos that I've ever taken.
So I always like to ask this one question. If you could go back and talk to your 9-year-old self, what would you say?
You're not working hard enough. Not
Yeah,
working hard enough. I heard a quote from a guy one day. Um, And he told me, he said, you know, why settle for second if first is always available?
that's true.
I was like, man, okay then. All right. Okay.
I also think every day is a process. I think that people, it's something I learned. I went through my mom's death and the end of a long term relationship at the same time. And what I kind of figured out was I have to give myself grace
Hmm.
first and foremost. And every day is a struggle, and every
Right.
day is a new day, right? Every day is a new day. And
Yeah.
12 years of a relationship that, for the most part, was incredibly unhappy for me.
Hmm.
I choose to be happy now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. Hmm.
I choose to be happy and just get up every day and do what I can and go forward
Yeah.
for that. What kind of legacy do you want to leave as a mentor?
I just want to be a positive example. You know, I want to be, and it don't even have to be, I ain't got to be the richest.
Right.
It's for me, it's about being there for people and just
Mm-hmm.
being a stand-up guy, gentleman, boyfriend, husband, whatever it may be, I want to be excellent at all
Yeah.
of that. And just I want when people bring my name up, I want them to be able to say, man, he was always there for me when I needed him.
Right.
I think that's what mentorship is about. Not all of it, but I think that's a very important piece of it.
I'm going to add one thing that I think that people forget, and I always like to use this example. You're on an airplane, and they always say that if the cabin pressure drops, the oxygen thing will come down, and they say put the oxygen mask on yourself first
Yeah.
before you give it to the person beside you, right? I think that people forget a lot of times to put into themselves first.
Yeah. Pour everybody else a cup.
That's right. That's
Yours
right.
empty. Yeah.
That's right. And so what I say is pour into yourself first before you pour into others, because you won't have anything left otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
won't have anything
for
left.
sure.
How can people find you online?
Just I'm very grateful that I've in a world where, you got millions of Instagram accounts being created every day. I was lucky to just have my name, Will Coleman. That's
Will Coleman.
that's my Instagram handle. Just my first and last name put together, Will Coleman. That's it. I mean, that's
I'll,
where I spend a lot of my time. So I want to continue to create content and, be this fun volleyball dad and I want to work to begin to be more vulnerable for a lot of people because and I know some people, there's a lot of people who talk about creators and influencers and stuff and a lot of people that cry on camera and all these things,
yeah,
but I think those are the people that help other people because if you're able to get on and share your story, whatever it is, and cry and tell people your story, I think there are people out there who resonate with
sure.
whatever your story is because there are some people who are afraid to be heard and
There's
who
a
are
lot of
afraid
people. There are a
to
lot.
to speak out because they're afraid of being judged, they're afraid of being cyberbullied. There's so many things, but
Yeah,
the plan for me is to be completely, as vulnerable as I can while being, keeping the safety of my kid,
sure.
protecting her feelings and protecting her and the things that I share, my just my life, work life, dating life, what I do with my kid. There's so many things that I want to be able to share from the viewpoint of a single dad that I want to share. So just thinking about what that looks like and how I approach it.
Okay. Um, Flash fire Q&A real quick. 5 questions.
All right, let's
Um,
do it.
favorite country you played in?
Toss up between Israel and Greece.
Okay. Go to pregame hype song.
Um, there's a song that I heard, man, I forget the name of it. I found it because I'm a big Stranger Things fan.
Okay.
And it's called hold on, I know it's real quick. Let me find it. I got my phone right here. It is man, what is going okay. It is
Drum roll, please.
it is Separate Ways by Journey and Steve Perry.
Okay.
There's a different
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
there's a rendition of it, there's a certain
Yes.
version of it that was made specifically for Stranger Things. And I just even when I play pickup now, I'll listen to it in my earphones.
Send me a link to that version. I'd love to
All
hear
right,
that
I'm gonna
because I
send it
love
to you.
that.
Right.
Favorite memory of your daughter playing volleyball?
This is gonna sound crazy, but this is when, Charlie started to become a pretty decent player.
Right.
We went down to Texas 2 years ago. And I don't think she understood this. Charlie's pretty athletic. So we're playing a team, and this team is triple blocking Charlie at the net.
Wow.
It's three girls on the opposite side of the net to block Charlie. And at the time, I'm like, Charlie, this is a compliment. Like these girls kind of scared of you. If they got to send three girls at the net to block you,
Exactly.
then they scared of you. But Charlie didn't
That's
see it that way. She saw it as people picking on her. But
oh
they
no.
blocking her, they talking to her through the net, they chirping at her, and it made her cry. And her mom's kind of like, oh,
Well,
it's okay.
she was what, 12?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
She's like,
yeah.
it's okay. It'll be fine. It's okay. I'm like, yes, do it again. Make her cry again. Because to me, it's like, listen, that's adversity, man. You won't play this, it's gonna get meaner and meaner. It's gonna
Mhm.
get harder and harder. So this right here lets us know how bad you want it. Do you want to keep playing or, do you want to stop because you got your feelings hurt one time?
Rick Pitino, wasn't it Rick Pitino just like a few months ago who did the
Yep.
big like locker room rant about,
Yeah.
grow up and it
Yeah.
is what it is and get back out there and fight.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And to
Extreme.
have three people on her tells you that the coach saw her as the person that can make or break the team.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah, for sure.
powerful.
For sure.
Um, I've already answered that one. Dream dinner guest, past or present? alive or dead, who would be the one
You know
person
what's
you
crazy? I ask this question all the time. It's so bad. If you could eat with one person for 1 hour in your favorite
Yeah.
restaurant,
What
who would
is
it be?
it?
Man, mine would probably be, man, I don't, there's so many people. If I'm going sports,
Let's go
obviously,
sports. Go
like
sports.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe.
Kobe Bryant. Yeah, because I feel like Kobe was kind of a little crazy. But I feel like every athlete that is good as Kobe, like if you wanted to truly be as great as Kobe or Michael Jordan, like you kind of got to be off your rocker a little bit. Like
Well,
what
sure.
what is in your
Sure.
brain that's making you, to us it seemed crazy, right? To
Right.
want to be that great. But like what in your brain is ticking to make you want to be so excellent at something that you are willing to sacrifice everything?
You're absolutely correct because both he and Michael Jordan, they were competitive and driven to a fault.
Because I
And
mean,
not,
him,
yeah.
Kobe, Shaq, they all, man, I sacrificed everything to be as good as I was.
Mhm.
Like I sacrificed it, everything, my time, holidays, games, birthdays. I gave it all up to be as great as I was. And I just want to know, like what drove you to that type of excellence?
And where it came from, really.
Yeah. Where are you getting that? Where are you getting
Yeah.
that from? Because you're not
Yeah.
you're not gonna be motivated all the time. Some days you're gonna have to be disciplined. Like, what
Mhm.
are you doing on the days where you're like, man, I'm really not trying to go here, or I'm really not trying to enter this space, or put the shots up, or work on my handles, or whatever
Right.
the case may be.
Right. Will, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Um,
Thank you.
from Thank you for sharing that story. From basketball courts around the world to the heart of fatherhood, purpose, and now leadership, you've shown us that the fifth quarter of life can be just as powerful as the game itself. And that's what this podcast is all about. In this conversation, I hope it inspires others. Thank you all for watching and listening, especially if you've made it all the way to this part of the show. I appreciate all of your support. Another reminder to subscribe to the show wherever you listen or watch. My mantra is like, share, and review. Follow us on social media at 5THQRT Podcast. And then until next time, remember, change is our ally and it paves the way for greatness. Stay inspired. Have a great rest of the week.